Welcome back, everyone. Let's now get straight into our conversation for tonight. I am joined by an APC chieftain who is also a lawyer, Barrister Jesutega Onokpasa, to discuss the implications of the Supreme Court governorship verdict. Barrister Onokpasa, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Always a pleasure having you on Politics Tonight. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Jumoke.
Right, so let's get straight into tonight's conversation. 8 governors, but 2 of them members of your party, had their election affirmed by the Supreme Court. What do you make of this as an APC member? And as a lawyer, how would you react to the entire judgments?
Well, the court has spoken. I have not had the privilege of reading the judgments, all of the judgments thus far. In fact, I've not even read one of the judgments. But as we say in court, as the court pleases. Mind you, this is the apex court, our Supreme Court. So it's not as if a lot of us are in such a hurry to start looking for the judgment, to be able to peruse it and familiarize ourselves with it. You know, it's not as if there's any opportunity for appeal. This is the apex court. This is the final decision. There's something we call res judicata in law. This is as solidly res judicata as it ever gets in our profession. So I really don't have that much comment in terms of the substance of the decision. What I would say is that I have implicit confidence in the judiciary. It is not as if the judiciary can do no wrong. Most certainly, only God can do no wrong. But I trust in the judiciary, and we abide by the decisions of the judiciary, unlike those who only praise the judiciary when the case goes their way and start insulting the judiciary when the case does not go their way. We are not like that in our party. But until I've actually read the judgments, I really wouldn't have much to say about the individual cases. I would just say that I trust the judiciary to do law, to render justice according to law, and the judiciary at the end of the day is the bulwark of democracy. I'm proud of my profession. I'm proud of the Nigerian judiciary.
Right. So I understand you haven't read the judgments, but as a lawyer, did the Plateau judgments come as a surprise to you?
The Plateau judgment?
Absolutely.
Hello, did you say the judgment in Plateau State?
Yes. Did it come as a surprise to you?
Oh, of course, it did. It did. A very big surprise, in fact, because at least I am familiar with the judgment of the Court of Appeal in the Plateau case, and I aligned myself with the judgment of the Court of Appeal. But you see, that is because I am familiar with the judgment of the Court of Appeal. Now, since I'm not familiar, I've not read the judgment of the Supreme Court. It is possible that maybe tomorrow I read the judgment and I hear what their most eminent lordships, the justices of the Supreme Court, had to say. I might agree with them. I might read it, I might disagree with them. But until I read it, I cannot agree with their judgment or disagree with it, other than to stand by it, because that's what we do. You know, unlike the other people on the other side, who, if the judgment doesn't go their way, they start insulting judges and threatening to burn. There was this, for instance, this article that was brought to my attention, written by one Shidi Odikalu, who is supposed to be a professor of law. And I was astonished at that sort of, well, with respect, balderdash coming from one, a lawyer, which was already bad enough, and a lawyer that is supposed to also be a professor of law. You know, in the article, in fact, he titled the article, if I can recall the utter nonsense he wrote, Monica Dongba Mensen,
Onokpasa, let me help.
Please go, or something.
Onokpasa, let me help you, and also for the benefit of those who may have not seen that article. Professor Jesutega, in his article, accused the president of the Court of Appeal of directing the panel of judges to give judgments against the PDP. Now, the question here is, does the chief judge of the Federal High Court or the president of the Court of Appeal have such powers to influence judgments? Is that a normal practice within our judiciary?
You don't need to help me, Jumoke. I don't know what side of his bed Professor Jesutega woke up from. But every lawyer knows that every judge, even if, do you know how our profession works? All judges are equal. All the judges of the High Court, they are all equal. They are equal to the president of the Federal High Court. They are equal to the chief judge of a state. And a state High Court is equal to the Federal High Court. All the state High Courts are equal. They are at the same level of courts. All the justices of the Court of Appeal are equal. They just happen to have a president who, for administrative purposes, assigns cases to different. The president of the Court of Appeal does not sit on appeal over a decision of another justice of the Court of Appeal. Now, Jesutega writes this is literature, totally unbecoming of a lawyer, much less an academic in law. He lampoons the entire Court of Appeal bench. He specifically targets our Lordship, the President of the Court of Appeal. Even gets personal, insults her family members. I can't imagine what sort of a lawyer Jesutega thinks he has become. I used to know him as a lawyer, but I really don't know what to say about him now. Then, worst of all, he offers not a shred of evidence to back up his absolutely unhinged accusations. Let me tell you something about law, Jumoke. You see, I don't even think Odikalu has read the Supreme Court judgment. I dare say he didn't read it. But because it was to his taste, he immediately concluded that he agrees with the judgment. Not having read it as a lawyer, that he immediately agrees with the judgment, and the judgment of the Court of Appeal is wrong. That's not how it works in law. It is even possible, every lawyer knows it, even a lawyer that is still a youth copper. It's even possible that it is the judgment of the Apex Court that was rendered in error. In fact, many a times in our profession, there will be a judgment forthcoming from the Court of Appeal. It goes to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court overturns it. Don't worry. Give it 1 case, 2 cases, 3 cases, 4 cases more. Give it 1 year, 2 years, 3 years more. What do you know what the Supreme Court does? It will now adopt the reasoning of that earlier judgment of the Court of Appeal that it overturned. And then it becomes the binding precedent on everyone. You have not read a judgment, but because the time Supreme Court rendered judgment against your preferred candidate, you were all lampooning the Apex Court, insulting their lordships, impugning the integrity of the pride of our profession.
Okay. That's
what they were doing. Odikalu and his co-traveler in attacking the judiciary, Leonard Olisa Agbakoba, who ended up even letting the cat out of the bag and revealing to all of us that the only reason he has been impugning the judiciary is simply because he was not made a Supreme Court judge. As if he's the most qualified lawyer amongst us all to be a Supreme Court judge. Who told Olisa that he's the most qualified lawyer to be a Supreme Court judge? When he claimed in public that he and my learned senior, in fact, my personal hero, Wole Oladipeku, that their names were submitted for elevation to the Supreme Court. Well, with respect, how did that process start? Did you put it to the vote? Excuse me, please. Did you put it to the vote? Did we all vote for you, Olisa, that you should be, you are our candidate for elevation to the Supreme Court bench? On what basis? Now, Dikalu writes this balderdash of an article. He accuses justices of the Court of Appeal, basically accusing them of brigandage, of bribery, of corruption, of perversion of the cause of justice. And this man, who claims to be a lawyer, who basically decomposed into motopark mode. I don't know what happened to him. A whole professor, for that matter. You have not read a judgment. Then you are asking a judge to resign.
Barrister Onokpasa, we're gradually running out of time. We don't have enough time to continue this conversation, sadly. But quickly, let me take you up on this. There have been speculations about an impending cabinet reshuffle by President Bola Tinubu. Could you throw one light on that?
Well, if our president wants to reshuffle his cabinet, that is right under the law. He's the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, our commander-in-chief. All the powers, the executive powers of the federation are vested in him. It is his prerogative to reshuffle his cabinet. It is also his prerogative to retain his cabinet.
All right, so what do you make, or how would you react, or rather, what do you think of the performance of the ministers so far?
Well, I would say that they've well, the time is a bit short. I can say that generally they've performed above board. You know, there are of course glaring areas where there is lack, but you know, it is like this notion of one minister is performing better than another. That notion should be discarded. Each minister's work is different from another minister's work. If, you know, we have been talking about this, we've been hearing this idea of a star boy, star girl, and so on. Please, let's just discard all that. If your job, for instance, is to secure all the mining sites in Nigeria, make sure that there are no illegal miners, and we can secure all these sites and produce solid minerals for export, that will benefit the entire country. Your job, for me, is more onerous than if you clear the backlog of 2 million passports, not to talk of 200,000 passports. So that you could clear 200,000 passports does not, that's great work. God bless you. Thank you for that. But the person that is securing solid mineral sites, he has a very, very, very onerous task to do. If your job is to feed 200 million people, you are Ministry of Agriculture, your own job is different. So what I would just urge is each minister is being judged on his own, depending on the handicap in that ministry. And the ministers work as a team under Mr. President. You understand me? Mr. President knows exactly how to assess them based on the task he has given them and the handicap each and every one of them is facing in their different departments. So I trust my president to do the needful and the right thing at the appropriate time. All
right. Sadly, it's a 30-minute ride today, but I'm certain we will continue this conversation some other time. Thank you so much. I've been speaking with a lawyer and an APC chieftain, Barrister Jesutega Onokpasa. Tonight, we focused on the implications of the Supreme Court governorship verdict. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. We appreciate your time with us on the program. Thank you.